Good afternoon, it's Michael here from Michael's Card Art, and I've got another video for you, and it's been inspired by the number of inquiries I've got around the cards that I've made that have got landscapes attached to them. And the line of questioning is really around how do you decide what makes a good landscape, and how do you choose the right DSP to make a good landscape. And the answer to those questions is really up to one's imagination. But what I'm going to do is I've brought out a couple of cards that I've made, so you've got a concept of what we mean by landscapes. Let me show you a couple, and then I'll talk about some of the DSPs that I've got. But in terms of, this is what I call a landscape, and this was inspired by the Meandering Meadows DSP that was released by Stampin' Up. And there's that one there. This one is by Thoughtful Journey. This is by, we're losing a leaf already. Look at that. Okay, so this is inspired by the Thoughtful Journey DSP that was brought out by Stampin' Up. And once you can see here, bringing the paper together and adding die cuts to it gives it a three-dimensional sort of look to it. And exploring that the landscape scene a little bit further, here's another one. This is called, this DSP was Winter Meadows by Stampin' Up. And what I've done there is just enhanced it in some way, shape or form with some die cuts of pine trees, some ferns, etc. And I've put that into a faux shadow box. It's not a real shadow box because it's open at these ends and at each end. But this is a very nice shadow box for mailing, if you like, whereas the other one, where it's not so flexible, the true shadow box. But here's another example of a DSP, and it's inspired a landscape. What else have we got here? So something else that I posted recently. This here is, I suppose it's a landscape in sorts. It was in the country, which was a stamp set as part of Celebration, I think, from Stampin' Up. And this one here, you've got a landscape, and what we've done here from that landscape, I've drilled down and created a still life, imagining that this is a wall on that villa, for example. So as I said, what inspires a landscape? I suppose it's the look and the feel and one's imagination in part. And here's another one. This was the Hills of Tuscany, and here's the Your Path Awaits is this stamp set. And this is me Welcoming Windows, where I've created a still life, assuming that this could be a wall on that on that villa, excuse me. So I'm just going to go back and say it's one's imagination. So there's examples of landscapes that I've created, and these are examples of some of the papers that have come out from Stampin' Up, and I've gone, these will make perfect cards if landscapes are your thing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a couple of videos. This is really an introductory piece, and the videos that I'm going to create are in probably three parts. The first part will be once you've got a piece of DSP that you wish to create a landscape from, and I will show you a piece that I'm going to focus my first part of the video on. And I had it here and now I've lost it. Okay. All right, now this is interesting. Where is it? Oh, it's over here. This is the landscape I'm going to create my next card with, using this kind of landscape scope. And I'm going to talk about the sort of dies that you should have in your stash to create a nice, simple landscape. There's some basic dies that I think one should have. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those. And, you know, they consist of fences, clusters of small flowers, and, of course, butterflies and the likes, possibly even some dragonflies. And essentially, one needs not only flowers, but also some good tree shapes that they can use, and also some foliage that can be not only presented on the ground, but also overhanging in your landscape. So we're going to talk about the sort of dyes that you should use. Then after that video, we're then going to move into how do you color these die cuts so that you get a more natural look, if you like, or how do you emboss those die cuts to give you a regal look about it, I suppose, is another way of putting that. So that's where we're going with these videos. I'll keep this one very short because it's the introductory piece. And and I should say the third video will be around the colouring aspect of those, the colouring and the shaping of your die cuts. So how do you colour them and then shape them so that when they're sitting on the card, if you like, how do you get that 3D look about it? So that's the last part, that's the last video in this landscape series, if you like. So without further ado, I'll end now and we'll move on to the part 1 video, which will be choosing your die cuts. Okay, well, I hope that's got you all excited, and we'll see you at the next video. Thank you. Okay, let's have a little talk about, let's have a talk about the design process that my head goes through when I've decided on the DSP that I'm going to use and the various elements that I'm going to put into it. So I see this is the piece that I want to use, and straight away I can see the horizon line, the foreground, and the sky. I see that this lends itself nicely to a fence of sorts. So let's get that in there. I also see some overhanging trees, and that could be flowering gums, if you like. But because this is a wintry sort of cold scene, or it could be an early morning scene, it could be a scene that's in the middle of summer, but it's fresh and it's cold and nippy for some reason. So I'm going to explore overhanging or flowering eucalypts, but I may not put the flowers on them because in the wintertime, or if it was wintertime, you wouldn't see the flowers on a eucalypt, that's for sure. Now, straight away, by putting these overhanging eucalypts in the foreground, whether I use them both or just one, it's just still to be decided. This one might just be this little piece in here. I want to get some foliage in there, some plants. Now, they might go like so, with the fence in the background, some distance from the foliage. Here's my border of small shrubs, and it's got this little box here, which I really like. And as I discussed here, having that there helps close down the scene and keep the eye within the confines of the space. So we've got this going on. We've got here. What else would I be putting in there? I might have one of these and one of these as an example. They might be together. All that stuff to be determined. But at this stage, I'm just getting placement of pictures. Now, the card is not going to be this big, but I'm just seeing what looks good in the actual scene. And obviously, I then have to colour it up. I do like the idea of some butterflies or dragonflies. So there could be a couple of these floating around. Here's a dragonfly that I've pulled out of my stash. I will talk to you a little bit about some of the stamp sets and die sets that I consider to be invaluable when it comes to creating landscapes. Now, obviously, these are going to be Stampin' Up! Stamp sets, but because I have easy access to those. Now, here you can see I'm starting to play with the placement, but I'm also playing with the what the height might look like on the card itself. And the things that I will do with the foliage will be, I'm very big on folding and curling and letting leaves present themselves in a format that they would present themselves in nature. So I'm starting to just think about that. These would probably, I'd glue those flat at the base. Pull out all these little inserts that we don't need, but I'll do that later. But what I'm doing, or what I'm thinking at this stage, is what will these look like when they're standing up to give me that height? And see, straight away, by lifting them up, the fence line, you can see that the fence is now at a distance from that foliage there. Okay. We could have that, or no, it's not going to happen there. So what else have I got here? If I did say that this was a early morning summer scene, then some of the flowers that you might see on the flowering gum, for example, would be something like this. And this is a good example. And I might just curl that up a little bit, place it there, and straight away you've got some flowers that have already blossomed on the flowering gum. Okay, I don't have any others there, but using that as an example. All right, so we've got the scene starting to take place. If that was the size of my card, you can see there's quite a bit of activity already happening. Now, what else have I got here in the stash? Okay, well, that's enough for starters. I found this. These are trees. What you could do, and I've found this one that's left over from another project, but you could, if you wanted to, I wouldn't use those colors, but you could bring these trees to the fore, give these trees now some height and some movement by putting one or two of these here with a little cluster of flowers underneath it, and already you're starting to give yourself height and texture in the card. I found something here. Oh, I don't know where this one's from. But look, another example. This could go behind the fence line, possibly even there. They're all trees, pine trees or a tree of similar sort. Here's your fence line. I'd line it up so that the trees were, the base of the tree was hidden. Let me just get my, there we go. Like so. Adding height and distance, you've got your foliage here. And the scene is starting to now lift off the page. Your butterfly is here. Give him some height and texture, and you've got that happening there. Okay. As an example. All right, is there anything else there? I think that's enough to give you an idea. So that could be the start of our scene. And if I bring this back into play, you can see we've got lots of various things happening in the three scenes here. Right. Let me just talk very briefly about some of the die sets that I take or that I use or always have in my stash, so that I can create these landscapes as and when I feel. And I'm going to bring these to the fore now and talk a little bit about Stampin' Up! Stamp and die sets. Here's one, Windmill Fields. It's an old retired set, but look at these flowers. You could colour these up and they could be dancing around in the foreground there. So Windmill Fields. This is the die set from Thoughtful Wishes, which is the thoughtful, which corresponds with this DSP. It came as a bundle, and straight away there's some beautiful things here. You've got this. You could die cut that and cut some of these plants, these bits off, and they could be your die cuts if you don't have this particular die set, as an example. And look, there's this one. You could die cut a whole heap of these, and they could be used in lieu of these plants as well, as an example. This here is a set and it's from Bulb Bouquet. These are beautiful. Overhanging limbs of a bush or a plant. And where have I used those ones? Is it here? Let me have a look. There it is. Oh, and it's been grabbed so many times it's starting to come unglued. But look at that. I've done what I did there with 3 branches from here, and they've just fallen into as overhanging branches in the scene in this particular card. So that's an example there. So that's from the Bulb Bouquet die set there. That's another good one. And here also is, if I can remember where this one is, textured floral dies. This one and this one, fabulous. A couple of these, or you could have these cut and they could be sitting up there like that. So you're looking for things that have got an actual structure to them as opposed to something like that. So let's make sure I don't get these mixed up, because my OCD-ness will absolutely kick in. Let's get these ones back in here. And the best thing I ever did was found on Amazon, I think it was, these magnetic mats. 5mm, one set size, fits nicely in the jackets for Stampin' Up! Products. Oh, here, Forever Blossoms. Another retired set, but look at these. Spring flowers. And with some clever colouring, you can create, you've got stamens, you've got the flowers, you've got the spring blossoms. Fantastic. When I do die cuts, I tend not to stamp them if there is a corresponding stamp. I just tend to prefer to colour them. Thoughtful Wishes, here it is here. This is the set that that goes with this DSP, and these are the die cuts that go with that here. There we go, Thoughtful Wishes. So that's another great set to have in your stash if you're interested in getting landscapes done. Honeybee Home, some great stuff in here. Look at these. Die cut 1, 2, 3 make fabulous, or 4 for some reeds and things like that. They make fabulous foreground flowers if you just want to colour them and use them. And here's examples of those there and there, and the little ones there. Okay, so Honeybee Home is a great one. Another go-to one for me especially is this one, Dainty Delights. And unfortunately, they're all retired. But once you find a good set that you can use, hang on to them. Look at these gorgeous things. Stamp them, die cut them, put them out, and lift them off, and they look great clusters in a landscape scene. You've got this little fella here. I have no idea what that is, but he features regularly. And he featured in, it's not at hand here, but these gorgeous flowers. These jumping, I call them jumping jacks, they're probably not, but I scatter these all around my landscape scenes. And where is that one? I'll just show you. Here it is. Clusters of wildflowers. Here they are. The little purple fellas, the jumping jacks. That's those ones that I just said there. Can you see that? These little fellas are there. That little creature's there. And these are from the Honeybee Home set that I just showed you previously. What was this guy? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And look at this. A little urn. You've got some of these flowers. Die cut them, and then I chopped them off after I'd finished colouring them. All right, so that's that. What's another one that I feel is good for you if you want to develop a collection? Oh, lavender, yes, of course. Painted lavender. 1, 2, 3, 4. These ones make brilliant landscape plants. Put them into colour them, put them into clusters. Bob's your uncle. It makes a great set. Whereas, oh, these are irises. I found these in a series somewhere, and here they are here. So little plants, little ones that you can colour it and put onto your scenes. I would never part with any of those stamp sets that die sets that I've shown you, simply because I'm using them all the time to create scenes like this. And if you've not done a landscape before, try them, because it's really quite rewarding, the end result. Now, where did that come from? That was, and it's, here it is, Honeybee Home, I believe. Yes, I think so. Okay, all right. That's as much as I want to spend in part 1 today of this video. I just wanted to give you a sense of what to do, how to identify potential landscape using the DSP, the colors of the DSP, and how to get complementary colors to work within your landscape, and then also what are some suitable die cuts to use and how to place them before you even start thinking about the coloring of them. And just on that last point of coloring, because of the colors in this scene, we're going to go with muted colors as opposed to very vibrant colors in this card, because the sun's out and the colors are on display. But in this scene, I have a sense that it's early morning or it's late at night, and we're going to go with some muted colors, which doesn't mean we're going to not have anything vibrant. We're just going to have them more neutral tones in our palette. So like the pinks, the balmy blues, the bubble bath, these gorgeous these greens, these soft sea foam. There's not a lot of green here, but we will be needing to get in some of those colors that are listed on the back of our set here for this DSP. All right, I will leave you with that. That gives you an opportunity to go away, grab some paper, find some die cuts, get yourself ready, because what we'll do in the next part of this video is we're going to start coloring up these various pieces, and I'll show you ways to color this from spritzing, from daubing, from brushing, and also from watercoloring and using watercolor pencils to help color our pieces. So that's the next part of this video. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something, and most importantly, I hope to see you again at Michael's Card Art. Take care, everyone.